Trapmore gang, everybody that follows me and has followed both of my channels for a while will know that I have covered the Jacksonville gang wars extensively, okay? The big war between Fulio and Young and Ace. It's been going on for years, over a decade at this point, and it's a very sad story because in a lot of ways, a lot of these famous faces that have been involved in Jacksonville drill have gone out in the worst ways. People have died, people have gone to jail, people have got sent away for life, and one of the people who was majorly affected by this gang war in the worst way and also participated in it and caused a lot of pain for the community was KSoo, okay, aka KSoo make your face go, okay? Not really the best look when you're facing down with prosecutors, but even more tragic, maybe not really even more tragic than the pain and destruction that KSoo caused to his community was the betrayal of KSoo by his own father Blue, who took the stand, testified against him and put him away for murder. His own father, who people said gassed him up, put the battery in his back to go and slide for his brother, actually ended up telling on him and putting him away for good. Okay, this is the moment that it happened. We all remember, okay, when KSoo's dad, Blue, took the stand, identified him as the shooter of Lil Buck. But there's been some major developments in this case that I'm going to update you with on today. And there's been there's been sentencing, there's been news about what the consequences KSoo's father is facing. So I'm going to break it all down for you. But first, let's just refresh our memory and take a moment to look at this absolutely bombshell dramatic moment in the courtroom when KSoo's dad, Blue, told on him in front of the world.
Pendency of your case and the discovery to see that recording.
Yes.
Correct. Okay. Did you, when you viewed that recording, recognize the person depicted in it?
Yes.
Who is the person that was captured on the video recording shooting Charles McCormick?
My son.
What's your son's name?
Hakeem.
It's just heartbreaking stuff, man. Heartbreaking stuff. Got a special guest in the studio right now, standing on the mic stand. All right. We're good. So this was a truly heartbreaking piece of testimony. This was, I mean, I'm sure this has happened in the world before. This is the first time I've seen anything like this personally, right? Like I ain't seen in the modern day drill music. Okay, bye. I ain't seen in the modern day drill music era somebody's dad telling on them. This is absolute insanity. Okay, but ironically, okay, KSoo's lawyer, he basically went with the defense. Some people had described this defense as the shooter ain't got no ass defense. All right, you got the glove. If the glove doesn't fit, you must acquit. That worked for O.J. Simpson, but for KSoo, the shooter ain't got no booty didn't actually work out. Look at this.
Boss and normal-sized human being. He's huge, but even in this, you can tell he's got a belly. He is out of shape. He is not toned. And Your Honor, I hope that I can quote what I did the other day when I said the shooter ain't got no ass. He does. Boss.
Like, whoa, the shooter ain't got no ass. He does, all right? So back that ass up, KSoo. Now he's facing decades in the penitentiary. You know what I'm saying? That ass might not come in handy after all, okay? And look, I shouldn't be making light of this situation, but that is actually, I ain't never seen a lawyer jump in court and say the shooter ain't got no ass, okay? If the glove don't fit, you must acquit. If the shooter ain't got no back, he ain't do that attack, man. That's all I'm going to say, okay? But anyway, after 7 days of trial, 3.5 hours of jury deliberation, KSoo was sentenced, and we ended up getting to see his reaction when he realized that his promising rap career was officially in the rear view mirror. It was over with. This is the moment. The way he looks at his lawyer too.
Is it done? I think it's done.
Yeah, they might have heard.
And then
Alright, I gotta hit down.
You know, what you're seeing is just the last bits of hope just draining from this man, you know. everybody that followed this case knew that he was cooked, but like he still had a little bit of hope. He thought he might beat this. That's the realization. It's over with. Right? Yeah, you saw your daddy, but for the judge to tell you it's truly over, it's over. Even the lawyer is looking at him like, bro, you cooked, bro. You overly cooked. He's got no one to blame but himself, unfortunately. You know, he got betrayed in the worst of ways, but really, you know, he did the crime. He's got to do the time. And, you know, as I've said before in videos, man, you know, you got guys that are products of their environments. You know, they're coming from backgrounds where they're really up against the odds, okay? But there are ways out, okay? Not everybody that comes from a disadvantaged community in a disadvantaged background does resort to murder, gang wars, crimes. Yes, he had family members. He had relatives killed. He lost a brother in front of him. There was a lot of really sad stuff that went down. But at the end of the day, man, there's only one way to break the cycle, and that is stopping the violence. And that is not something that KSoo did. And unfortunately, he does have to face the consequences that come with this stuff, man. And you know, it doesn't make it any easier. It doesn't make anybody happy. But it is what it is, man. And that's what that face is all about. Now, KSoo's father, Abdul Robinson, a.k.a. Blue, just appeared in court for sentencing, okay? And he actually opened his statements by apologizing for all of the grief that he caused. And he told the judge he would never give anyone a ride again, okay? Because he was the one that was called to come and pick up the guys after the whole murder had gone down, and he ended up getting himself caught up in the whole situation as a result. He talked about his failures as a father and why he chose to tell, and I felt like this was actually quite insightful and interesting. Let's check it out.
I don't know if they're here or not, but I sincerely apologize for my part in their grief. I understand what it is to lose a child because I lost one. And I know some days you're mad, some days you're angry. It'll never be the same, but I sincerely apologize for my part.
Now, I respect this so much. Even though he told on his own son, and as far as the streets goes, that's completely unforgivable. He's actually talking some real stuff here, because he's basically saying, I know what it's like to lose a son. All of this, all these revenge, all this stuff that was going on, a lot of this was get back for his other son that got killed, right? And then you kind of combine that with essentially, you know, this whole situation where, okay, he's telling on his son, but he's basically trying to give justice to the parents of somebody else whose son got killed by his son. And him apologizing to them, apologizing for the part that he played, even just picking up the shooters and helping them at least initially try and get away. I think he burned their clothes as well. That's accountability, okay? You didn't hear KSoo talking about, you know, I'm sorry for the pain that I caused. You didn't hear KSoo talking about, I'm sorry I took the life of your son. As much as people are going to hate me to say this, and I said it before, man, okay, yes, his father telling on him, this is diabolical, absolutely diabolical. It should never get to this point. But in his defense, the only way people are going to break the cycle is actually for stuff like this to happen. If we can break the cycle before snitching happens by not committing crime and fixing the problems in the community and finding other ways out of the cycle, that's the best way to go. But failing that, blood's already been shed. In the long run, cosmic scheme of things, this is a positive, because this is going to discourage people from doing crime. This is going to discourage people from saying, yo, daddy, pick me up. I just caught a body and I need you to burn the clothes. That might make people think twice, because they say, you know, even your pops might not be solid.
In whatever grief they have. Your Honor, I'll never give nobody a ride again. I don't care if they call me and say they in labor, they water broke. I don't care. I'll never give nobody a ride again. I had a lot to think about with this situation. I even, you know, this may sound like a joke, but I'm serious. I even thought the next car I get, I'm taking all the seats out besides the driver's seat because of this situation.
All right, we don't need the comedy. I keep it real. He's losing me with this one, bro. You're losing me, because it wasn't about giving a ride. This isn't about giving a ride. It's about you letting your son get caught up in this cycle of violence that you should have known better than to allow him to take part in. You already lost a son. Now you lost another son. That's low-key is a failure of parenting on your behalf. So I'm not feeling this taking this. I got to take all the seats out the whip, bro. Them seats in the whip wasn't the problem, bro. It was who was in the whip, and it was what you was doing, and then it was you backtracking.
But it's no manual when it comes to parenting. But this situation put parenting in a great perspective for me. I learned that you can't make up for lost time. When you try to make up for lost time, it makes the friend and parenting thing collide. I learned that a parent must set boundaries between their children. And my biggest lesson was not to be friends with my children, and definitely not friends with their friends. I tried my hardest with Hakeem.
I actually get what he's saying there. When he's talking about friends, he's not talking about friends like Ross and Rachel type friends, okay? When he's talking about friends, he's talking about gang buddies. He's talking about street friends. He's talking about, really, he's like when you're friends with the members. That's really what he's talking about. And what he's basically saying is that, like, he needed to be a father. He needed to be a parent. He needed to let his son know right from wrong. Maybe he didn't know right from wrong, but he needed to let his son know, you catching them bodies, avenging your brother for it. You can't do that. But he was thinking like a gangster. He was thinking like one of the members. He was thinking like he was on get back mode, when really he should have been on parenthood mode. He should have kept his son out of this situation, because if they'd have never got back and killed this person, his son would still be here. They'd all be out. They'd all be able to do family things. So I actually get where he's coming from. That actually makes sense.
When he came to live with me, I didn't know how I was going to put food on the table for me or him. I have fought with him literally, physically. Whenever his mother called me, I dropped whatever I was doing to go get on him. I never missed a PTA meeting. I never missed a parent conference. The school knew me by heart. That's how active I was in his life. I'm not standing here pretending that I don't love Hakeem. I still love him. I never stopped loving him. And I know he hates me. Sometimes I wish I could tell him I love him, whether he accept it or not. Even if he spit in my face, I still would love him. That'll never change. I'm not only standing here for myself. I have 3 babies, 10, 7, and 6 years old. I don't want to lose them, because nowadays,
because look, you know his other kids are going to be on their best behavior, right? Like, yo, clean up the dishes, man. Clean up that yard work. You saw what happened to Hakeem, man. That parent, you know what I'm saying? That's a parenting cheat code. But really, this is a serious. All right, I shouldn't make jokes. But this situation is just so crazy. It almost just makes you like you just can't even comprehend it. Like, it's hard to even take seriously. It's so crazy. But later on, he opens up. He basically says that he wanted to change his life and be a better father for his remaining kids. Okay, he said that he really didn't know what happened before he picked KSoo up, and he revealed that his family indeed did disown him after he testified.
It took it all out of me. I'm not saying that I love them more than I love Hakeem. I just had to choose one of the less evil. It's a tough spot for a daddy. It breaks my heart when my babies tell me they have to lie to their friends about their father's whereabouts. They tell them that their father's at work, he work out of town, things of that nature. After the day, I'm hoping that's not a lie no more, because I plan on reinstating my CL driver's license. My godbrother already have a job lined up for me. I don't want them to visit me in prison, because it gives children the wrong impression. Because when you see them, I doubt if I would even let them visit me. But when they come to see you, you have to come out there with a smile on your face. And it makes them think that it's okay. And years later, that visit turn around, and it'd be the father going to visit them.
It's real shit, man. That's real. You talking about that, man. Then you're putting on a brave face when your kids coming to visit you. They think that's normal. They're normalizing that. And you got to break that cycle, man. This is a diabolical way to break that cycle, but hey, you got to break it.
What I thought was a simple, innocent phone call was the worst phone call of my life. If I had a single clue that a murder had happened, or that an old lady was being held against her will, it's nothing or nobody could have made me go get him a ride. I thought that it was over some little female's house, and their parents came home. And when they came out the house to get in the car with pajamas on, I would have never thought that there was a victim in the house who closed those walls. I did not know what happened before I picked him up. I hadn't been in trouble in over 10 years. I lost everything, Your Honor, doing what I thought was the right thing. Children, grandchildren, brothers, sisters. That's almost enough punishment for a man can handle within himself. to lose 99% of his family.
I mean, he's definitely suffered a lot. You know, he is definitely like I don't envy him for the burden that he's carrying. Now, he actually would go on later in this kind of statement to essentially kind of claim that he had been told that the ops were waiting for him in prison because of his perceived involvement in the situation.
I don't want to be put in a situation where I have to be an animal to survive, because that's what it'll be if I'm put in prison. Guys that come back when I was in St. Johns County used to tell me, boy, they waiting on you. They waiting on you to come. But I said, you know, rap music is a big influence in the urban area. And this whole situation been blamed on me. How? I don't know. I don't believe no one is looking at the facts. I think they just see that I'm his father. I don't feel that I should have to sacrifice my life because I was his father. And I'm still to this day kind of baffled that neither one of them stood up and say he didn't know what was going on. But I didn't know before I went and picked them up. I don't pretend that this is easy, but the right decisions in life are not often easy.
So he would go on to say after this, right, you know, the right decisions aren't easy. It's a difficult decision. Now, the judge would acknowledge the assistance he provided and the difficult decision that he had to make in the situation, and would kind of give him some bail, but at the same time admonish him for being involved.
All right, thank you. All right, Mr. Robinson, of course, I sat through the trial at which you testified, and I am fully aware of the assistance and cooperation that you've provided in the prosecutions of not only your son, but of the other defendants who have cases before me, Roy Whitaker, Mr. Hudson, Mr. Brown, and the rest of the gang, if you will. And so it is not lost on me the hard decision that you needed to make and what you have done to assist in these investigations and prosecutions.
So look, they're saying he did his part. Like you kind of shone at the trial. You kind of made it happen for us, really. Now, she would still remind him of the role that he played in this situation where a young man lost his life, and would basically warn him that as a convicted felon, he can't legally protect himself with firearms anymore.
Assistance qualifies. In addition, under 2B, I believe it is, I also acknowledge that in these horrific crimes that resulted in the death of people in our community, that you were not the shooter, you did not provide or get rid of the firearms or play a major role in the crimes. You did play a role in the crimes, and for that you're being held accountable by being an accessory after the fact, driving people to the doctor, driving people away from a crime scene, providing money for Mr. Barner to get out of town with Janera Smith, and so that is what I am sentencing you for today. I am also fully aware that you are, within your family and in your community, persona non grata. You have a bullseye on you. So you are going to have to lawfully protect yourself. But understand this, you are a convicted felon. I know that I've previously adjudicated you guilty of aggravated fleeing from a law enforcement officer, so you are not allowed to possess firearms. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
So she said, I know they want to kill you. You got the bag on your head, but ain't no straps. I'm not trying to see you with no straps anytime soon. And in the end, the judge did have mercy on Blue. She gave him time served and probation, and he got to get out of there.
That one count of accessory after the fact, I am going to adjudicate you guilty. I am going to sentence you to the 1,898 days that you have already served. That's a Florida State prison sentence, but it is time served. That's going to be followed by 2 years of community control with electronic monitoring, to then be followed by 3 years of probation with the following special conditions. You have to pay mandatory felony court costs of $518. I don't think I need to say it, but it will be a condition. You are not to possess any firearm, ammunition, or weapons. If you are going to move out of town or move out of state, I don't have an objection to that. However, wherever you're going to move has to accept you and receive you, and you have to pay the transfer fee. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So just to be clear, I do not have an objection to transferring this community control or probation to another location. But whether you're accepted is not up to me. You understand?
So she said, look, if you want to get out of town, if you need to get out here, you got the bag on your head, I will support that. But they got to want you, and not everybody's trying to have you around after what you did, okay? His defense attorney would actually try and protect him even further, to basically say, look, he cooperated. We're going to need his address to be kept confidential. We're going to, I don't know if witness protection program's available, but, you know, we're definitely going to need to keep his location secret.
Do we have probation on Zoom?
Good morning, Judge. Yes, probation is present. We would not be able to identify with the electronic monitoring, but can you also state that his address be placed confidential? Raise your right hand.
Yes,
Can you sit down?
we'll do that. His address can be confidential, only known to DOC.
So that was definitely needed, all right? So he got off. You know, time served, all the time that he served, they sentenced him to exactly the amount of time that he served. 2 years electronic monitoring, 3 years probation. It is actually a pretty good outcome for Blue, to be honest with you. He wasn't the only one, okay? Another person who had testified during the trial was Butter, right? And he got his charges dropped down from mandatory life, okay? He basically is at the very least, despite the role that he played in the situation, he basically was like, you know, going from potentially serving mandatory life to like going down, okay?
We will begin with case 2020 CF.
So I'm pretty sure he got what they're saying here that he got 25 years instead of mandatory life, which low key still a W.
2748 in that matter. Just a moment. I think he pled to just one count, did he not? Both counts? That's correct, okay. So as to count one for murder in the second degree, I am going to adjudicate you guilty and sentence you to 25 years in Florida State Prison with credit for the 2,136 days you have already served. Count two, which is a second degree felony. Well, statutory maximum is 15. I know his guidelines are 41.8, so unless I do guidelines, I cannot go above the statutory maximum. Both attorneys agree with that?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so that sentence has to be 15 years is the maximum, 15 years is what I'll impose, and that is also with credit for 2,136 days, and those two counts shall run concurrently with each other. Mandatory court costs are $500.
So that's like 5 years that he'd already served, okay? And people are saying this man is stressed, the hair's breaking off and all. Even if he makes it out of prison, his mental health is going to be destroyed from all those years alone in PC. They're saying, dude ratted and got 30 plus, I'm crying. But really, they're saying he got 25 with 6 years served. He was essentially facing life with no parole on 2 murders. They had him dead to rights, right? So that's low-key a win. People saying it isn't as bad as you're making it out to be. He played a big part in planning the murder, and you forget that he's the one that broke into that white lady's house with Scotty. 15 more years, and he'll be home. He'll be home in like 15 years, maybe a little over. I don't know if you can get the whole situation where you get half off, but that's a very serious charge. But he dodged life, basically. He did actually dodge life. Why is that not working? That is very bizarre. There's another post where people are talking about this. You know, they're basically saying, but I got 25 years. And people are saying, bro snitched and caught 25. That's rough, but he was looking at life without the possibility of parole. He had another charge for being a participant in another murder. Not positive if he snitched on that, but he was pleading to settle 2 cases. Someone said he's on the Bibby case too. That's 2 other cases he's working for the state on. Low key, if you got 2 bodies and you manage to get it down to 25, low key 20, maybe you get out in 15 if you're really lucky. Saying, dude did all of that for 25 years. The streets are finished, okay? Everyone charged in the case has now received their sentences. KSoo and Scotty life, Butter 25 years, Crazy K 12 years, Blue time served. Is what it is, man. So look, it's one of a few loose ends in the big Jacksonville drill story that has finally come to a close. Okay, we have got the results. Streets is finished, unfortunately, for sure. This didn't work out for anybody involved. All of that music, all of that KSoo make your face go stuff, all that I'm flying in the air with Bibby stuff. Didn't work out too good, is it? And it's only right, man. KSoo was doing too much. He was doing way too much. Anyway, man, let me know what you think of this video down in the comments, man. Do you feel like Blue did the right thing? Do you feel like I'm bugging? I'm not in the streets like that, so I try to relate, but it's difficult. And low key, I feel like, bruh, you was leaving bodies all over town, bro. Like your dad had to step in and spank that ass, spank that big ass, that big beautiful ass. To lay down some discipline, and you know that his other 3 kids will never step out of line again. But anyway, let me know what you thought of that video, man. I'll be back with another video very soon. Thank you for watching. I'm out here. Peace, gang. Bye.